Welcome to Assay TV. I'm Leo Stemp and I'm here in Cape Town at the One-to-One Mining Investment Conference with John Dorward, who is the President and CEO of Roxgold. Roxgold have seen a transformational year for the company in 2019, developing from being a single asset gold producer to a company working on a pipeline of assets across West Africa. John, good to see you today.
Thank you, Leo.
Tell us a little bit about 2019. You acquired, I believe, the Séguéla project. Tell us a little bit about how you came to own that project.
Sure. So it's been a big 2019 for us. This time last year down in Cape Town, we announced that we'd reached an agreement with Newcrest Mining to acquire Séguéla. We were paying $20 million upfront for it, with a further $10 million upon first production from Séguéla. And that's now moved forward. We closed on that in April and have been very busy drilling it out. What we acquired from Newcrest was an inferred resource at the antenna deposit as part of Séguéla. There was 430,000 ounces of inferred resource at about 2.3 grams per tonne. And we've drilled that out quite extensively. We've had up to 4 rigs going most of that period since. And we've now got that at 1 million ounces at 2.5 grams. So a really impressive growth. We've spent just on $4 million to do that. So the discovery cost for that additional, which included infilling to inferred to indicated, is just on $7 an ounce.
And you mentioned that antenna is just one target within the Séguéla area. Are there other regional deposits?
Absolutely. So antenna was really what we hung our hat on to actually see the justification for the acquisition. But then our thesis was that we'd be able to delineate further satellite deposits, of which Newcrest had sort of done a lot of targeting work, and then feed that into a central processing mill at antenna. And I'm pleased to say that's going really well for us. We've now got resources on 3 additional deposits, Boulder, Agouti and Ancien. Ancien is an incredibly high grade deposit that just wants to get bigger and bigger.
What sort of holes are you hitting there?
So we released, 2 weeks ago, we released a batch of results which were headlined by 42 metres at 17 grams.
Wow.
And the thing about Ancien, and you can look at it on our website on our long section, is the consistency of that deposit is really remarkable. Every section you look at, you see high grade hits. And we're now in the process of extending that. We're stepping out up to 150 metres down plunge. And so far so good. We like what we see and we're awaiting assays in the near future.
And you also, yesterday I believe, released an announcement about another discovery you've made.
That's right. So back in Burkina Faso, where our main history's been with Yaramoko, we announced the discovery at Busara, which is a project on the southern end of the Houndé belt. Yaramoko is located on the Houndé, and if you follow it about 180 kilometres south, we're at Busara. We followed up some historical drilling that had been done by Roxgold and extended that deposit, and we discovered a new one, Galgouli, with again some very, very good widths and very high grades, double-digit grades, double-digit widths. So we're very excited about that as well.
And you'll be doing follow-up drilling on that as well in 2020?
Absolutely. So we've been busy since late last year and early this year. We've drilled 35 holes. So it's not a flash in the pan. Sometimes I think the term discovery is a little bit debased, but this one has 35 holes into it. You can see the continuity. It lines up with a lot of the mapping we've done, lines up with artisanal workings on surface, and there are a lot of other targets to follow up down there as well. So we're very, very optimistic about how that will shape up.
Fantastic. And how are you funding all of this drilling and exploration?
So we're funding that from our balance sheet and cash flow from Yaramoko. So we have at the moment, I think at the end of the year, we finished the year with about $45 million in cash. We have a high grade operating mine at Yaramoko that's generating, a lot of cash, sort of around the $800 to $900 all-in sustaining cost. So our operating margin at Yaramoko is very good. So basically we're looking to take that cash and redeploy it into accretive new assets, which are Séguéla and Busara, hopefully the first of many.
And how many ounces are you producing at Yaramoko?
So we're looking at between 120 and 130,000 ounces this year. We did 142,000 ounces last year. That was a record for us. But we think that, in the future, probably looking around that 120 to 140,000 ounces for a number of years to come.
And what is the mine life of Yaramoko?
7 years.
And is there opportunities for resource extension there?
Absolutely. So we're in the process this year, about midway through the year, we'll be about 600 metres underground, and we'll be establishing our second underground drilling platform. And the primary purpose of that is to really target the infilling of the inferred resource at depth, and then also trying to push that inferred envelope. So we see, when we started the project, we had a 7-year mine life. We've mined for 4 years. We've still got a 7-year mine life. So we think it's one of those classic underground stories. When you're onto a strong system, you can continue to push the mine life many years beyond what you might have on paper in your reserve statement.
And you mentioned it's $800 all-in sustaining costs?
Around that, yes.
And once you start going further underground, how do you think your costs will look?
Look, I think there's a little bit of cost creep with the deeper we go. We're truck haul, but I mean that's a very small part of the equation for us. This year we have to spend a little bit of capital putting a refrigeration plant in so that we can pump chilled air through the workings because it's getting a little warm down there. But that's one of the most, the last significant capital items we have to spend for some time. So I think we should be able to hit those numbers in terms of cost for a long time. If you look at our operating cost per tonne, it's trended down from about $208 per tonne in 2016 to around the $150 per tonne mark now. So we've put a lot of efficiencies into our business. We've nationalised a lot of our positions. So we're continuing to work on our cost structure to maximise that margin that we see.
So plenty of cash still for the further exploration project.
Absolutely.
And Burkina Faso and Côte d'Ivoire as places to operate, how's it been for Roxgold?
Look, I mean, we have no complaints. I mean, obviously there are some issues around security in Burkina Faso, and the government's, I think, being very responsive to managing that with the part of the Group 5 in the Sahel. But it continues to be a focus for us. But if you look at actually the ease of getting things done and of doing business in Burkina Faso, I think the hallmark of that is the fact that Yaramoko was discovered. The discovery drill hole at Yaramoko was in 2011, and we were producing gold in 2016. So 5 years from discovery to first gold production is something that you can't do in many jurisdictions around the world. And we see from what we see in Côte d'Ivoire and some of the experiences that some of the other companies have had, we expect a very similar trajectory.
Fantastic. And your board and management team, a lot of experience in the region?
Absolutely. So West Africa has really been a focus for most of our team. Myself, I've been involved in West African projects and mining for a number of years. Our Chief Operating Officer, Paul Criddle, has built a number of projects, including Sabodala and Edikan and Yaramoko, Bagassi South, and he's now leading the charge on the various studies for Séguéla. Paul Whedon joined us about 18 months ago. He was the Senior Exploration Manager for Newmont in West Africa, 15 years working for Newmont and Anglo Gold, so he knows what a good exploration and what a deposit looks like, and he's had a really big impact leading his team who've made some of these discoveries.
So what are the key catalysts that people should be looking out for in 2020?
Well, I think it's ongoing drill results. I think we've got 6 rigs running, 4 at Séguéla and 2 at Bassara at the moment, so there's going to be a steady stream of exploration results. We anticipate having a preliminary economic assessment out on Séguéla early in the second quarter of this year. That will also feature another resource upgrade, so we should see a bump on what we recently released. I think the PEA should show what we anticipate will be a very, very attractive economically project. It'll be a strong margin, high returning project for a modest capex. And then also down at Bassara, I think we can start to continue to extend the Fafora and Galgouli veins that we've already found, and then get on to testing a number of the veins that remain untested. And
where are you listed?
We're listed on the TSX under the ticker ROXG.
Fantastic. And where can people go to find out more information about Roxgold?
www.roxgold.com. And I'm also finally, belatedly, finding my way onto Twitter. So if you may even find some tweets coming out from me, if that's the right way to say it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. A very exciting year ahead for Roxgold.
Thank you very much. Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Leo.